So one of the novels that I'm really interested in that uses York as a key location is Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke, published in 2004, and you may also be familiar with the BBC TV series from 2015 that was a dramatisation of the novel. And I really enjoyed the novel anyway, but I'm also interested in the way that it uses York as a particular location within the novel, and I think one of the ways in which we can start to think about the different pieces of literature in today's reading group is thinking about how they're using these different locations in different ways. So if you've already read the novel or seen the TV show, you'll know that the events start in York with the Learned Society of York Magicians, and I think one of the ways in which I'm really interested in thinking about this novel is whether actually it's York in particular that is core to that idea of magic and the magicians, because what we find in this novel is that it uses a number of different locations in different ways. So the characters move around in different places in the UK, particularly around London. There's elements that are abroad, and we also have the interweaving of fairyland and kind of magical locations into the mix in this novel as well. But where it all starts, where we really begin to see how the novel is going to be using this notion of magic and how the characters are going to interact with this, is in York itself. And we see that magic is dealt with by different characters in different ways. We see that some of the characters have quite a scholarly interest in magic. They're thinking about it in a very theoretical and historical sense. And then we see that contrasted with the more practical side of magic as we kind of move into the events of the novel. And I guess what I'm really interested in is whether it's York itself that allows that exploration of magic. Is there something magical, inherently magical, about York as a location that lets us think about it in that way, that lets the characters explore magic in that way? And we can see that the novel kind of interplays the reality of York with this kind of fictional engagement with a number of different ideas. So I think one of the things I'd like us to think about, and I'd invite you to join me in thinking about, is whether there is this kind of magical aura to York, for lack of a better word. This magical air that lets us take a step back from reality, that lets us think about some of the magical events that might take place. Is it different from other parts of the UK in that sense? And do we see that in other novels, or is that something that's unique to this particular example?